What is good, everyone out there in our social media following world? We're so thankful for you guys to be tuning in with us with this new episode as I'm getting notifications that we are live. Sadly, I'm not watching it on TV right now because I've got the Dallas Cowboys New York Giants going on. It's good to have some NFL games going back. Hopefully, you guys' fantasy football teams are doing well. Mine are not, but that's okay. It's a different story. Nick, CJ, how you guys doing? CJ, how are you doing? Oh, can't hear you. All I'm hearing is a bunch of static.
Yo,
There we go. There we go.
what a start, guys. My fault. Getting, just getting in from cousin's wedding, man, in Jersey. It's a nice ceremony, man. Special times. Spend time with the fam, social family members I hadn't seen in a while. So it was a calm vibe. It's definitely a calm vibe. Good moments. I linked up with one of my boys that over the weekend too. I linked up one of my boys from well, we grew up here in New York, but I hadn't seen him in like 7 years. He usually lives in North Carolina. Came up here for the weekend, linked up with him. So yeah, man, this weekend was pretty cool. Then 2K came out on Friday. So yeah, man, it was a nice weekend for the kid.
Good. How is 2K looking? Because I seen that you put it on YouTube. I didn't watch it, but I'm anxious to see how this 24 looks.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks really good. The gameplay is really solid, brother. Uh, definitely the best 2K since the P5, the new generation of consoles came out. I should say.
Okay.
Definitely, 2021 through 23 was wasn't too great, underwhelming, I should
Okay.
say. But this one, they took their time. They had enough time, about 3 years, to kind of make the right game. And right now, first couple of days, it feels good. It feels good. So, like I told you guys, crossplay is available. So, whenever you guys get that, let me know, man. Like I said, we could run it up, make some MNC Hoops 2K
There we
content.
go.
Like, I think that'd be pretty dope. Yeah, that'd be pretty dope, man. Now that they got crossplay. So, yeah. Overall, really good weekend, man. How you doing, brother?
Uh, doing okay. Had a little bit of an extended weekend, so that was always nice.
Yes.
Did some fishing. Just got done playing a little basketball, which is funny. I've got to admit this, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself, to be honest with you. You guys know I'm a big fella, but my children are running cross country, and they are two of them are 6 year old, and one is 5 years old. So they've got cross country at the elementary age here, which is I think is wonderful. I think it's being really good for my son. He's a gamer at heart. Really, he loves Mario, and he don't really want to go outside and play. And we have to force him out to play. The girls love to play outside, so it's been fun to get him out to be able to play with the girls and do stuff like that. So the past couple of days, they've not had any practice, so I made them go next door over here where there's a horse park. Basically, it's hard to explain what it is, but it's an open field that the county owns. That is, it's beautiful grass and everything. Anyways, so I took two of my kids over. Actually, I took all three. I'm going to tell you two stories real quick. So I took two of my children to run because the third one can't run right now, and I'll get to that story. And I was like, you know what? I'll run with you guys. Why not? I need to try to run. We're not going to run that much. Y'all are doing cross country. It's just to try to stay in shape. So my son, who is coming in last, well, not dead last, but towards the end with the boys, it's fine. He's finishing and he's improving. And I've, talked with him about that. It's a individual race. Keep improving your time. Let's just stay focused on that. And he's loving it. So the last lap, I'm like, all right, son, let's race. So we took off running, sprinting down a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I'm totally going to destroy him. No, old dad ran out of air, and I lost to a 6 year old, and I'm like, man, this is depressing. So we'll have to start running a little bit. So after running our half mile, then playing basketball, I'm off to a good start, getting back possibly in somewhat shapeness. So Now, my second story, my oldest daughter that you guys know, CJ, I think you liked on Facebook or my daughter or my wife's post. So she fell one day this week at school off of a slide. Nick, you probably don't know this, but the school told us, her elbow is a little swollen, but she seems to be okay. So that night we had our cross country meet. And again, she's 6 years old, running against from kindergarten to sixth grade. She's in second grade. And she came in ninth place, which is awesome, in my opinion, for a 6-year-old. And the next day, her elbow was swollen even more. So we took her to the hospital and they did an x ray. Apparently, she broke her elbow while she fell off of the slide and then ran across country and came in ninth place. So, she's a trooper. So now she can't run, but it's been an eventful week for sure. But she's while we were running, she was trying to walk, and I turned over my shoulder once, and she was running. I was like, "Stop! You can't run. You have a cast on your arm." So she's enjoying this. So it's been an eventful week. So, how about you, Nick? How you been, man? Since you bailed on us.
Yeah, I had to bail on y'all for a minute, man. The Wi-Fi's been acting weird, but I finally got it back under control. I'm doing great, man. It's good to see you guys again. I know that, the people missed us last week. We had to take a week off for Labor Day. And on top of that, the NBA season kind of in a dead zone, like I told y'all before, but training camp should start in about a few weeks. So I'm excited to get back into talking about hoops again, man. I'm really excited for what the season has to offer.
Awesome. Sounds good. Of course, guys, before we get into talking our basketball sports, breaking down each individual team, we've been doing so much in the East, talking a little bit of this and that going on with USA basketball as well. Right now, let's go ahead and give out our quick shout out, scrolling across the bottom. If you're going to any kind of events that you're purchasing a ticket, use our promo code MNC Hoops and get $20 off your first purchase if you make that purchase on SeatGeek. So again, go to SeatGeek.com and use our promo code MNC Hoops, and you'll get $20 off your very first purchase that you make on any kind of event that you're going to, if that be baseball games, a concert, a football that's going on, NBA coming up. And we would appreciate your support and love to give you a discount of $20 off. So, with that being said, CJ, I know you got a lot to probably say about this. Team USA loses in the semifinals and then loses bronze medal against Canada. How are you feeling about the way the Team USA played during this event?
Yeah, the last two games, the first game, it started when they lost to Lithuania before they qualified. That was a big loss. I mean, Jonas Valanciunas had a field day with the front court, Team USA's front court. And honestly, you just look at all the games. I didn't see the Canada game, but it was 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not staying up and watching. I'm not up watching. I was sleeping during that time. But I caught the highlights. When Dylan Brooks goes crazy, that's how you know it's a bad game. But let's start with Lithuania, and they couldn't get rebounds. That was the story of their losses. All their losses, the rebound differential was so large for the opposing team. This is what I've been saying on the show forever about just lack of big guys not being able to do the little things. Your centers want to stand out on the 3-point line and not do your job, crash the glass. Jaren Jackson Jr. Listen, man, he's a young guy. I'm not gonna sit here and completely obliterate him, but he has to be better. You're the reigning defensive player of the year. Defense is not just blocking shots; it's rebounding as well, and that's a big factor. And he averaged 3 rebounds in the entire FIBA World Cup. That's just unacceptable, and it shows to me the value of Steven Adams and how he masked the deficiencies of a Jaren Jackson Jr., making things much easier for him in Memphis. And when he didn't, when they lost him and Brandon Clark as well, another big factor, 2 of their best rebounders, you saw how they struggled against the Lakers in the first round. So, he was disappointing. Me personally, I wanted to see, you guys know I'm a big Walker Kessler fan, big fan of him. I think he's going to be a special center for years to come. Steve Kerr, I know this Knicks guy, but I mean, listen, if you have a traditional center out there, I just feel like it's common sense to match the opposing team with a traditional center. Just didn't do that. Try to get too cute. Try to play too finesse. Again, he got caught up in his own system that's been successful. You know, we come on the show and talk about everybody's not the Warriors. He did that with the team that's not the Warriors. So that's kind of crazy that even the head coach of the team tried to duplicate what his NBA team does, knowing that they don't have the personnel to be successful in said scheme. So it was a lot. I feel like they tried to make, I feel like they gave Anthony Edwards too much of the keys to where no one else really stepped up and brought it offensively from a scoring standpoint. They just gave Ant-Man the ball, carry us to the gold medal. And to me, I was disappointed in Brunson. I feel like Brunson was too passive. I feel like he could have been more. I feel like he could have scored a little bit more, been more aggressive in some of those games. Brandon Ingram just couldn't find his way. He started, then he lost the starting spot to Josh Hart. He just wasn't able to do the little things to keep him on the court, and then he ended up getting hurt against Germany. So hope he's good.
What about you, Nick?
I just got a couple more things. Before I get to the bronze game. That's cool, bro. And yeah, listen, we didn't really get to talk about this last week. This ties right into what Noah Lyles has said, right? In regards to his comments and Team USA and the world and this, they're not real world champion. They're not really world champions because the NBA is in the United States. I still disagree. My opinion is not going to change because Noah Lyles said that. Everything I said is still facts. The NBA is still the best league in the world. So if you win the championship in said league, that makes you a world champion. The NBA has a plethora of players from across the world, not just in the United States. So therefore, yes, if you win the championship, that makes you a world champion. Just because the NBA is in the United States and people are like, what's the name of the league called? National Basketball Association. Okay. But if it was really like that, they wouldn't allow Jokic and Giannis and Embiid to play in the league. If they really just focused on the word National Basketball Association. So people try to play word semantics on X, just comedy, right? Yeah, man. So I still disagree. They lost, cool, but I still disagree with his take. It doesn't make him right in my eyes. They just failed to get it done. And then the Canada game, I saw a little bit of it. Dylan Brooks had 38. Just rough, slow starts for Team USA. Really couldn't get it going. Man, it was just, I got to look at Steve Kerr, bro. I really do have to look at Steve Kerr. I have to really point the blame at him as to why they weren't able to get it done. You have a sophomore, a guy going into his sophomore season, Walker Kessler, and he's a rim protector. He's already one of the best rim protectors in the league after his first year in the NBA. He's already one of the best shot blockers in the league. I just don't understand it. Somebody tweeted out a verified guy. I think he covers the Nets. I forgot his name, but he was like, Walker Kessler shouldn't have been out there, and he posts two clips of two low light clips of Walker Kessler. I'm like, brother, I could do that for Jaren Jackson. I could do a whole 15-minute reel for Jaren Jackson. You know what I mean? If I really wanted to be petty like that, just because he had two bad plays, which everybody has, that means he shouldn't have got minutes. It's so weird, just certain people covering the league. It's kind of crazy, but that's neither here nor there. But it's just disappointing. Just disappointing. Obviously, I was saying gold medal easy. I was talking a little bit of trash, but I was confident. I thought obviously I'm a root for my country. I love my country, so but it is what it is. It is what it is. Back to the drawing board and going to Paris next year and the Olympics. And I think Curry and those guys. I think Curry. We talked about Curry has never won a gold medal in the Olympics. I think that's something he definitely wants to check off on the accolade checklist. I think he will do so. There's a couple other guys that could have came in there. Tatum, KD might try one more time. Who knows? So we'll be back. We didn't win the FIBA World Cup last time, so it's cool. Still riding with my country always.
Of course. What about you, Nick?
I agree with everything CJ said. It was just wasn't our year. This wasn't our year. I recall, I think it was last week, I wake up, turn on my TV, USA is playing Lithuania. And next thing you know, so I miss the entire first quarter. So I turn on my TV for the second quarter and we down 20. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. Now, give credit to them. They did end up making a comeback, but unfortunately, came short. So it's just, I don't know. It was just kind of a roller coaster journey for USA as a whole. I got some numbers here in front of me. So defensively, for the first 4 games, they only gave up 72 points per game. But then in the last 4, they gave up nearly 101 points, which is a huge difference. So it just kind of shows the lack of defensive presence that the team had throughout, especially in those last 4 games of the tournament. And CJ mentioned it earlier, Jaren Jackson Jr. averaging only 3 rebounds per game throughout this tournament is like, it's just it's inexcusable. It's just inexcusable, especially, he's like CJ said, a reigning defensive player of the year. We know what he brings to the table on that end of the floor. We saw what he did at Memphis. You're supposed to carry that over to this tournament. You're supposed to bring your best, especially with you representing this country. And another thing that I will say is that I guess to me, the way, like my point of view of this whole tournament as a whole is the international game is growing, So, I mean, I guess, when you look at FIBA, when you look at the Olympics, like Team USA is almost like the Chicago Bulls or the Lakers or the Celtics of FIBA, of the international game. We have a dynasty. We've won all these titles. So a lot of these countries, Canada, Lithuania, France, Germany, all of these teams that are coming to play us are going to give us their best effort. So it's only right that we match that energy with the same effort as well. So, and I give credit to Germany. Dennis Schroeder hit a big time basket, to end that game, to seal the deal. Give credit to Canada as well. RJ Barrett, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander all played phenomenal. So I think that's just really what it was, that we just weren't able to match the energy either. So, but honestly, I look at this as a good thing, especially going into next year. We got the Olympics now. I mean, Steph. I think Steph said that he's going to play. LeBron had hinted at playing on his IG, so I don't know for sure if he's going to play. If he does, that'd be great. I'm sure KD is going to play. Tatum probably going to play. Probably Jaylen Brown as well, Devin Booker. So we're going to get a lot of our top guns, and I feel like next year, once the Olympics start, we're going to be more motivated than ever. So I look at this as a good thing. I kind of want to look at the positives about it. Obviously it sucks to lose, especially with the history that Team USA has. But I'll kind of look at the bright side of this thing. I think next year we're going to come back more motivated than ever, because I even look back at 2008 after we lost in 2004, and I just remember there was a story that came out about Coach. I think it was Coach K that asked Kobe to play in the 2008 Olympics, and he said, "Yeah, because I think you guys need me." So, so obviously when Kobe came into the Olympic team, obviously we won gold then, and then we won gold again in 2012. So I look at this as a good thing, man. I think next year we're going to come back ready and locked in to win gold again.
So I hate to ask this, but do you think that the FIBA we actually don't care nearly as much about?
Yeah, I mean, listen. I don't want to say that, because then it makes it seem like the guys that were selected just didn't give their all, and I don't want to take it that far and say that, but they just didn't have. They're just guys weren't aggressive. And again, I gotta look at Steve Kerr. I have to look at Steve Kerr, man. He deserves a lot of the blame. How you get. I don't want to disrespect these. Congrats to Lithuania and Germany coaches, bro. But it's like, man, you got Steve Kerr, and I said this a couple weeks ago. I'm like, no, we should what? We got 3 of the best coaches in the NBA right there on the sideline. Mm-hmm. What's going on? Like, what's going on? You telling me you're seeing Jonas Valanciunas baby Jaren Jackson Jr. He probably used to baby when they were in Memphis, when Valanciunas was in Memphis for those couple of years before he went to New Orleans. I mean, you're telling me Walker Kessler can't get 8 minutes, 9 minutes? Really? Like, just at least just to see what's up? Just put a body on a body, matchup with matchup. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. It's a game of chess out there, and he just got outclassed. There's no other way to put it. He just got outclassed by 3 countries because Canada got the bronze, and it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. Listen, I know. Bro, you can't play that finesse style. And that's one thing I will say about the overseas basketball. They even though yes their bigs do shoot, but they also have a backup big or a power forward that could do the dirty work, crash the glass, do the little things. You don't really see that on NBA rosters. It's rare. It's rare. I mean, it's rare you see guys like a Rodman type. That's just that his role is to crash the glass, get offensive rebounds, create second chance opportunities for the team. You don't really see that a lot in today's NBA, which is kind of crazy with the amount of possessions and the amount of shots being taken now, more so than it was in years past. And the pace, too. You would think there'd be more rebounds, which would lead to more missed shots. You don't see, specialists, rebounding specialists like that in a modern league. So Kessler had a 20-20 game, and as a rookie, like I don't know, man. I don't know. He just like I said, he just got outclassed, and we'll see. We'll see what happens in Paris. Pop gave him the blessing, and I gave him the blessing to be the guy next up. So he's gonna have a lot to learn. Just handling with different superstar players, because that's another thing too. Is like it's going into next year. It's not an easy thing. Like that's why I give Coach K a lot of credit, because he had to deal with a lot of egos, something that he wasn't really dealing with at Duke. Like he was the guy. Like he everybody is looking at him at Duke for guidance. In the Olympics, like yes, ultimately that's what came about because they earned it. They got his respect. But it's like you got Kobe, like Nick said, all the guys that were there, Kobe, Braun, Melo, Wade. It's like, these guys just like who's like they could really be on. They could have been like who's some coach, college, collegiate coaching us. What you mean? Where's the NBA guy? But no, there was a respect level there. So I think that's what's going to have to be for Kerr going into Paris next year, man. Is developing that. I mean, he's done a good job with that in Golden State. So, but I just think in this scenario, I just think they just didn't do a good job of that. And this is my problem with Golden State too. It's like, as Curry's getting older, like when are you going to switch it up? Like we talked, like you brought in your biggest move is Chris Paul, huh? Like
don't even get me started.
Like Chris Paul, listen, Chris Paul, Hall of Famer. We know all this already. We don't got to go through the accolades, but that's your biggest move after getting packed up by the Lakers is Chris Paul. No. JaVale McGee was supposed to go to Golden State. He chose to go to Sacramento. So what does that say? Hey man, it's a lot of questions over there in the Bay.
That's a topic for another day.
Yeah, we cover the Warriors, man. Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Yes, in a couple of weeks, probably we'll jump over to the West Coast with some of those breakdowns. But anything else y'all want to talk about with the USA? Possibly going to a college coach next year, do you think would be an idea?
I don't think there's anybody that could really handle that team the way that Coach K did, as far as on the collegiate level. Yeah, right. I mean, honestly, they're probably going to stick with Kerr. I think that's their guy. But I do agree with CJ. I think that a lot of his rotations and offensive sets were not great, and we saw a lot of it, especially in that Germany game when they did lose, especially down the stretch. So that's something that he's going to have to look at and figure out how to make those adjustments, especially going into next year when you do have bigger star players playing for the Olympics. So I honestly think that they're going to stick with Kerr, and it's going to be up to him to figure out, how to redeem himself and win gold next year.
All right, so let's go ahead and bounce on over to the National Basketball Association, and let's go ahead and break it on in a little bit closer to the East Coast and start breaking down each individual teams. We've went from Miami, we've done Atlanta, Washington, the Orlando, Hornets, Bucks, Cavs. I mean, honestly, the list goes on. This is going to bring kind of the cream of the crop, I think, as far as the top teams in the East with some of the other ones. So let's kind of make this a little bit juicy. Let's start with some of the lesser of our teams that we've got to cover tonight and save some of our better ones for the mid of the meat, I guess, if you will. Does that sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go ahead and jump in to the Northern team. Let's just talk about Toronto Raptors. CJ, would you, by chance, I know you're late coming in. Okay, yeah, actually, yes. why dare I even ask if you have any graphic that you can bring up? I'm going to switch your camera to the other side here. That way, if we got comments and stuff. So as you guys can see on the screen, CJ's got pulled up. Toronto last year looks like their record finishing in the Atlantic Division, 5th place at 41-41, even 500. Not really done too much this offseason that I can recall. I think they added someone from Miami.
Schroeder from the Lakers. They got my guy from Harlem, Marquise Noel from Kansas State, had a big NCAA tournament in March.
Shout out to Marquise Noel.
Shout out to Marquise, my guy. Yes, sir. Harlem Zone. Yes, Scotty Barnes year 3. I mean, just nothing too crazy from an offseason standpoint for free agency wise for Toronto. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
What do you think of this team for next year? And of course, everyone, as I ask that, we have been writing down. I'll kind of show a little glimpse. There is our picks of win-loss throughout the whole year. See how close we are. What are we expecting?
Yeah, I'm looking at 35 wins. Losing Fred VanVleet was a big loss, I think, for them. I mean, Dennis Schroeder. I mean, he had a hell of a World Cup. He had some games where it's like, what are you doing? But more times than he played really well. I mean, this is why they won the gold medal and placed gold. He was a big reason for that. And obviously the Wagner brothers, more so Franz. Mm-hmm. But he gets another opportunity to possibly get that bag that he missed out on a couple of years ago with the Lakers. It's crazy. I gotta give that man a lot of credit. When he flopped on that bag, he was a laughing stock. It took him a couple years. He went to the Celtics, went to the Rockets, found his way back to the Lakers and played well. And now going to Toronto, where he's going to get a starting opportunity in the North, to where if he plays well, he could get a nice deal and possibly maybe not make it all the way back in terms of compensation, but at least have solidified to make some nice money. I know Canada, the taxes is crazy, so he'll probably miss out on more than he should. But yeah, it's good for him. I think he wanted to capitalize on the opportunity. He probably could have went back to the Lakers or probably went to a contender. But he feels like he's confident in his abilities. He felt like him and Siakam could do something special in Toronto, but I don't think so. New head coach, no more Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse is out of there. They're running a new head coach, and I'm really looking at this team closely because Masai Ujiri really didn't give any indication that he was going to make a trade or trade Siakam, especially after VanVleet. A lot of people assumed, okay, you lose, you're one of your 3 best players. Is Siakam next? Is he on the move? I think it's really a wait and see process. I think if they're a few games in, maybe like a month or 2 in, and it's looking a little shaky, maybe Siakam wants to, have some talks with Masai and they make a potential deal. But since that's not the case right now, and everything looks like, he's going to stay as a Raptor, I'm going to say around 35 wins for Toronto, man. I really don't see anything too crazy. The only thing I would say is Scotty Barnes has to take that next step as a shot creator, as an offensive player. He has to improve as a shot creator. You were a top 5 pick. You have the defensive versatility, 6'8", really solid wingspan, could defend multiple positions. That's cool, but when you get drafted that high, you're supposed to be a guy that is supposed to carry your franchise and lead them to the playoffs. So that's really the next step for him. We'll see if he's able to do that. I think it has to start with him being able to create off the dribble. I haven't really seen that too much of his game as of late. I think that's something he definitely needs to work on, because if not, they could potentially find themselves in the lottery.
Toronto, I think it's time for rebuild. I think it's just time. They're going young. I would love to see them find a package for the trade trade Pascal Siakam and help him get to a destination where he could possibly compete for championships. But I like the future what this team has. Scotty Barnes. I think that he's still trying to find himself, but you see the potential. He's a He's an elite passer, an elite rebounder. He can put the ball on the floor and make plays. Can he improve on his perimeter scoring? Yes, he can, but I see the potential in him, and I do think that he could possibly be the franchise player for this team. So I like what they're doing. Obviously, losing Fred VanVleet is a big loss, especially with him being able to step into that starting point guard role after the loss of Kyle Lowry a few years back. And I thought he produced, honestly. I mean, he's shown to be versatile as an elite outside scorer, an elite playmaker, and I think we're going to see a lot of that in Houston this year. So obviously, to me, losing VanVleet in free agency was honestly an indication that it was time to rebuild. I think it was time probably like maybe a year ago, but I think now that VanVleet's gone, I think it's just time to just go ahead and blow it up. I mean, they had some good years. They won the championship in 2019 with Kawhi, and then even after Kawhi, they were still one of the top contenders in the Eastern Conference. But I think it's just time to just move on. So if they could find a package for Siakam, I don't know, maybe middle of this year or maybe after this year, I think that'd be great for them. But I like what the future is for this team. I could see them winning. I'll say 33 games. I'll say 33. I still think they're good enough to at least get past 30.
Everybody knew after they won the championship. Everybody knew it was once Kawhi left, it was a 1 year wonder. Everybody just kind of said it, without really saying it. I think people wanted to be nice about it, but they were never going to be dynastic. Now, if they had kept Kawhi, then that's a different discussion. But even so, who knows?
Right.
He can't stay healthy. He hasn't been healthy the last 4 years. So the last time he's been healthy was in Toronto, which was, again, 4 years ago. So and he only played like 60 games that year. So I mean, that's just Kawhi, right? But yeah, so it's just
that was the birth of load management.
Yeah, exactly. That Spurs, a little bit tail off for the Spurs going into Toronto for sure, definitely. But yeah, Toronto. I mean, when Kawhi went to the Clippers, they're kind of. I already knew once. I already saw it. They were just going to be this like good team, but never going to be great. Never going to go back to the finals. Never going to go back to a conference finals. Like Siakam is an excellent player. He's a really good player. He's not a number one. We saw he could be a 2, right? We saw that against Golden State. He could definitely be a 2, but they need a strong one, right? Like a franchise guy one, so he could be a 2, and then you could have the point guard like they had a few years ago. Siakam is not that guy. He can score a bunch of points, play defense, do some things for you, be an All NBA guy, but in terms of carrying a franchise, taking a team to deep into the playoffs, I don't think that's just not him. And so because of that, when he becomes your best player, now the expectations diminish. And I think Raptors fans knew that. So yeah, like Nick said, I think it's definitely time. I said 35, Nick said 33, but I don't see this team in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was going to ask that too. I haven't said mine. I actually got them at 31 is what I written down because I do think that trade happens mid-season. And I think it's going to come to that point where it is just clear a house. And I'm going to go this way. I know you guys are big on Scotty Barnes. Don't hate me when I say this. I think he's going to be a solid number 2 option for this team at some point. Yes, I said that. I think he will be a solid 2. I think that they need to get that solid, no doubt number 1. And I'm not saying Scotty Barnes isn't a great player, but I think Scotty Barnes would be a great second option on a team. I think they need to clear house and get into that lottery and start building with Scotty Barnes and hope that draft that they can get can be a higher pick to be that leader and Scotty Barnes be the Robin. I'm not saying that I think Scotty Barnes can't be a Batman, but I think a duo like that would be phenomenal. That's all I'm saying. Not disrespecting that at all, okay?
No, I agree.
Okay.
I'm right there with you. Again, if they do blow it up and start fresh, definitely they need a clear cut number 1 because, as I said, Scotty Barnes is not an elite shot creator, and if your name's not Giannis Antetokounmpo, like you just have to be able to do that to be successful as a franchise guy. So, I agree. I agree with you when it comes to that, for sure. I mean, they just got to go back to what they did. Remember, they drafted DeRozan. Yes, they brought in Kyle Lowry by a trade, and Kyle Lowry revitalized his career. He was on the Grizzlies. A lot of people forget. A lot of people don't even. Casuals will forget.
Grizzlies, Rockets.
Grizzlies and the Rockets before he went to Toronto. A casual will tell you he got drafted by the Raptors, right? But that's what they need to do, bro. They got to find that guy again and through the draft, because that's the type of team that they are. They're not Vince Carter, Chris Bosh. Like, they're not a team. Kawhi, that was an anomaly, once in a lifetime, never gonna happen situation. This is one of those just situations where it was rare. It was a rare occurrence. So they gotta grow. They gotta develop guys. They gotta get their farming system together, and we'll see what they do going forward.
Another team that's going to be developing players, but I think in a better position. Let's go ahead and move into this team here, the Brooklyn Nets. I actually think maybe a surprising team this year. Nick, I know you've talked quite a bit with them last year with the trade. How you see them for this upcoming season?
Mikal Bridges is the future, man. I mean, he's got me believing. I mean, I guess you could say that. I mean, I think the second half of the year, once he got traded for KD, man, I think he was able to blossom as an elite talent. Because I mean, in Phoenix, he was more of like a
role player,
3-and-D type of guy. Yeah, like a 3-D role player type guy. And once he was able to go to Brooklyn, he was able to show his versatility as an overall scorer, being able to create off the dribble. And then, of course, we understand what he brings to the table defensively. So I'm very excited for them. I mean, obviously they made the playoffs last year, but that was, I guess you could say, that was a little bit of KD and Kyrie's success, which carried over to the team, after the trade. So I'm really interested to see, what this team can do from the beginning to possibly the end. I mean, the question is, is Ben Simmons going to be available? Is he going to be able to play with his team? Because I feel like if he does play with his team and he is locked in, who knows where they could be? I'm saying, like him alongside Mikal Bridges and other guys, Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, who in my opinion had a very improved season this past year. So I'm excited for Brooklyn, man. I still think they can be in the playoff hunt. I don't know if they'll finish like maybe top 6, but they can definitely possibly be in that playing position alongside maybe teams like Atlanta, maybe teams like Indiana or something, like a lot of those lower tier playing teams. So I think Brooklyn, with the experience that they do have, and then on top of that with the youth that they have, I think they're going to be pretty good this year. I'll say they win. I'll say 45 wins for them.
So same.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm gonna say 40. I'll go 45. I'll go 45 as well. Here's the depth chart. At the 1, Dinwiddie. At the 2, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Ben Simmons, Nick Claxton. So when I look at this lineup, right, I don't see great spacing outside of Bridges and Cameron Johnson.
Especially Simmons can shoot the 3 in the offseason.
Yeah, in the off exactly. In the offseason, you got to put the dot at the end.
In the offseason.
Dinwiddie can make shots.
Dinwiddie can make shots. Did you see that first round against the Sixers, brother?
I mean, he can still make threes on occasion. I'm not gonna say he's a poor shooter. I mean, everybody has an off series.
He's not a great floor spacer. He's a solid shot creator. He's a good passer. So I think him at the 1 is right. But when you got Dinwiddie, who's a streaky shot creator, Ben, who just afraid to, just do anything when it comes to scoring, and then you have Claxton, who's developing and getting better, which I appreciate. Year by year, he's not there yet, especially at the free throw line. Not there yet. So you have 2 guys at your 4 and 5 who can't shoot free throws, and then at that guy at the 4, he's special in all those other abilities outside of shooting, but if he has the ball in his hands, you foul him, he can't make free throws. So it's just like he becomes a liability come fourth quarter time. So all those elite abilities that he does have goes away, because when the game gets tight, you need your best players to knock down free throws and be willing to actually go to the line as well, not pass up when you have a 6'1" point guard under the rim instead of dunking it, as we saw in that second round a few years ago against the Hawks. But yeah, it's gonna come down to Ben Simmons, man. It's just, I mean, I don't really know what to say at this point about the brother, man. Like I said, I wish him the best too, and but he's kind of just like he's just like a light-skinned Harden. I mean, it's just like the same thing. You know what I mean? It's just talented, showed flashes of greatness. Obviously, Harden's a better player all time and everything, but in just terms of just everything with the player in totality, it's just confusing at times. And if he's on the court, he shows ability. I need him to be aggressive. Just be aggressive, bro. Okay, if you go to the free throw line and you miss, and you go 1 for 2, cool. Shaq was averaging like 30 and 20 and was like shooting 44% from the free throw line. Didn't care. He knew the points that he was going to score would outweigh the missed free throws. Got him 4 chips. I just don't understand why that's not his mindset. He's just built different. He just clearly built different. So the success of this team is going to come down to number 10. It's just really no other way to slice it, guys. I mean, Mikal Bridges is a really good player. I think he's going to improve and continue to establish himself as a number 1 option. He only had a half a season to do that last year, which was crazy, and he did a really good job. So now going into a full season, it's going to be a challenge too, right? Because back in that half season, he caught teams by surprise. Now teams are going to scheme for you and do certain things. You get a completely different type of treatment that you weren't getting in Phoenix. As Nick said, 3-and-D guy, spot up, lock up, durable as hell, right? Played 83 games in one season a couple years ago. Iron Man of the NBA, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, special player. But again, like that's the new adjustment for him is teams are going to load up. They're going to trap. What do you do when they trap? What do you do when they do certain things to try to get the ball out your hand? Can you make that right read to certain guys on the court? So he's going to have to improve in that. I think he will. He's a high IQ player, too, a national champion. I think he'll be fine for that. Cam Johnson, great floor spacer, nice size at 6'8". He's always going to be a good starter for them.
Boys, I'm sorry. Right now, I just got the halftime of the Dallas and the Giants game.
What's up?
One of the people that are talking during the halftime is Jason Garrett. Poor guy got fired from both teams, and now he's working the halftime show. But anyway, sorry.
Still got a job. He's still getting checks. Somebody's paying him.
That's true. That's true.
That's how he's looking at it.
The
Nets.
Nets, he's still making more bills than us.
Yeah, definitely. Brooklyn Nets, I'm going to say – I said 45. Yeah, I think 43. I'll say 43, man.
You changed your mind?
Yeah, I'm gonna change it. I mean, I convinced myself out of it for two wins because I just don't know what we're gonna see from Simmons.
Well, I'm going to put 42 because I don't want to be the same as you. But it's almost crazy. Because at first I was thinking, well, has to be a worse team than when they had KD and Kyrie. But Kyrie was out for so long. KD was even out a stint. Like, that team technically really didn't have a healthy lineup with the superstars that were on the team before the trade. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the team put it together. But, yeah, I'm totally with what CJ said with Ben Simmons is really the factor of how far this team goes because so far he's not played. So, I mean, even if he just shows up and has somewhat of a range and actually plays, it could be good. But I do think some of the other teams in this conference in the East here that they'll be playing a lot is going to cause them to lose a little more. And I do think the surprise factor, the shock, now there's game plans for some of these guys that came over from the Suns that they're not going to get overlooked now. So I'm going to back them up too. I was going to say 43, but since you changed your answer, I'm going to go one game less than you and just say 42 because some of these other teams are going to be winning more games, in my opinion. So other teams have to be losing to make up for those games. And the Nets are close. Now, if they can make some type of trade through midseason, obviously that's going to change everything. But I do think the Nets are one of the dark horses in this East that could surprise a lot of teams if they can put it together.
I've been trying to tell y'all, man, this is like kind of like bad karma for Ben Simmons, man. He thought it was sweet when he was coming to Brooklyn, man, playing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, man. And then out of nowhere, boom, they out of there. No, I was just playing, but nah.
And
that is crazy. But I'll be in all seriousness though, like if Ben Simmons is healthy and he's playing like the Ben Simmons that we know him to be, like the Ben Simmons that was a multiple-time All-Star, like I do think that this Nets team can possibly be in that play-in position and possibly get into the playoffs. That's just my opinion. Also, free my man Cam Thomas, man. I need to see him get some minutes, man. A lot of people forgot, he had like a few 40-point games midway through the year, man. I want to see him get some opportunities as well.
They got to play defense.
Not in the regular season. That's no big deal.
He got to play defense. And he got to do other stuff on the court outside of having the basketball in his hands. Like it's just any guy or the 15th man on the roster, if you give him 30 shots, he could go get 40. It's what else can you do? That's why. So like, yeah, those 40-point games are cute, but it's like, okay, bro, like what else are you doing? Like, there's a reason why Jack Vaughn is not playing. There's a reason. He's not doing the other stuff. So, the points is cute, but fair. You got to do other stuff, man.
So we got 3 more teams that we need to cover tonight, I think. Let's go ahead and jump with one of the most dramatic team in the past probably decade, because I'd rather just get rid of them and go ahead and talk about them. Let's go ahead and jump to the 76ers.
Really?
Excuse me. I'm sorry?
I thought we were about to go into the Knicks. You said the most dramatic team in the last decade. I thought we were going to the Knicks.
Drama. That's what I meant. The drama that I feel like that always goes on with the 76ers. I mean, in the past decade, it's been trust the process to the process isn't over till whoops, let's rewind the process a little bit. Let's keep it going. Let's trade a few of these players in the process. Sometime that process has to be done, but I think, they just don't want to acknowledge that. So, we got Fat James Harden to happen to get him to even come this way, and now James Harden isn't happy, wanting out. Talks going on that he's wanting traded to the Clippers. He's now not saying that. He never said the Clippers. So with that being said, as of right now, James Harden is on this team. Nick, I think I started with you last time. So CJ, what are your tough predictions for these Philadelphia 76ers this coming season?
Harden's not going to play. I'd be shocked if he plays. He's not going to play. He's not going to be a Philadelphia Sixers.
So he's going to be Ben Simmons 2.0.
Yeah, he's just going to sit until they figure something out.
Sadly, I agree.
So they'll be Embiid and Maxey holding down the top 2 scoring option spot. Embiid coming off an MVP season. Nick Nurse, new head coach for the team. D'Anthony Melton, was a solid pickup for them last year. Great floor spacer. PJ Tucker, I don't know. Him and Harden are cool. I don't know. He might be one of those guys. You ever had that guy like in school where they were together, and if one guy did bad, his friend also tried to do bad too, so they could stick together and go to detention together. That's kind of the vibe I get with Harden and Tucker a little bit. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get from Tucker. Obviously he only went there because Harden was there. So we'll see with that. Just something has to happen. Something has to happen. I'm not going to go to the deep end and say trade right now because, like I said, Embiid just won the MVP. So, but they got to get out the second round. I mean, my goodness, it's just that's really to me. It doesn't matter what they do in the regular season. I'm not even going to talk about what they do in the regular season. If they can't get past the second round again, going into next year, then you got to start having some conversations about moving somebody around, because that'll be what 6 years in a row since Embiid's been in the playoffs, and he hasn't gotten out of the second round. It hasn't seen an Eastern Conference Finals appearance in a parity-driven league. It's not like there's one juggernaut team in the Eastern Conference. Mm-hmm. There's no juggernaut team in the NBA. So that looks bad. That looks worse than an overpowered team in certain eras. So hey, man, Embiid's a special player. He's obviously one of the best players in the league, top 5 player in the world. However you want to rank that, go ahead. But ultimately, the other big men in front of him, even AD, all have championships. Jokic, Giannis, all have a ring. And that's what it's all about for him at this point. It's about getting that championship, because when we look back 10, 15 years from now and we look at their career, and we're saying, wow, look at this. We had back in 2023, we were doing MNC Hoops season, 18. We're gonna be like, yo, remember in 2023 when we was watching Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid, and we're like, yeah, but Embiid couldn't win a chip. And got an MVP though. They were like, Giannis had 3. Jokic had 5. Embiid just had that MVP. So, like that's not the type of discussion you want. I mean, that's not the type of discussion you want. So I don't want that to happen for him. I don't want him to be in that Harden Westbrook category. Excellent, talented players that can never win a championship, and had great teammates around them and just couldn't get it done. I don't want that narrative for him. I want him to win a chip. I think that'd be a great story for him. But I mean, he's 29, not getting any older, not getting any younger. Excuse me. Already he has injury concerns. As soon as the playoffs started against Brooklyn, knee. It's just, man, it's tough. It's tough, bro. So regular season, the only thing I'll say I'm looking forward to regular season is Maxey continue to improve. He's gonna get more opportunities. He's gonna get more shots. I think Nick Nurse is gonna look to him a lot more to be, not just a scorer but also a playmaker. Kind of get other guys involved, pick his spots in terms of scoring, but also get other guys going offensively because we know he could definitely score at will. That's the one thing I'm looking for from the Sixers on a regular season standpoint is yes, what Nick Nurse can change to this team that Doc Rivers and Brett Brown couldn't do, and then also the continued development of Tyrese Maxey.
What game or how many wins you got him?
Oh, my bad. Go ahead, CJ.
I'm gonna say 50.
Oh, man, see, I wrote my answer down already, and I wrote 50. Dang it. Go ahead, Nick. I'm keeping mine at 50, though.
All right. I mean, what I was saying was the time is ticking as far as the process. I think they need to make some drastic moves soon because, I mean, Joel has technically been in the league for a decade, but he's going into like his, I think, 8th season playing because people forget he missed like his first 2 years of his career due to injury. He came along in 2016, so now you're going into technically year 8. It's been a long process for the last 7 years, and there's not one conference finals to show for. And that's a problem. That's definitely a problem. So, and he's had, I mean, like they've had great people in the process. Jimmy Butler was on the team at one point. You had Ben Simmons for about at least for a few years. Then you go out and get Harden. And this is the same Harden where Kendrick Perkins was saying after one game, Harden and Embiid were a better duo than Kobe and Shaq, which was just outrageous to me anyways. But, that was the type of pressure that they were putting on them. So for them to not have anything to show for it, then, of course, we all know the Harden situation is going down between him and Daryl Morey. Personally, who knows if he plays or not, but even if he doesn't, honestly, in my opinion, they're not going to trade him because I think he becomes a free agent after this year anyway. So you're just going to have to sit for a year and then wait till free agency hits. But who's going to sign you even after that? Because nobody's seen you play for a year. And on top of that, you're in your mid-30s, so ain't nobody going to really look to sign you immediately. So I think he's going to put himself in a weird situation, in an awkward situation if he decides not to play. So I'm hoping that he does figure out a way to gut it out. Will he give his best effort if he does play? Probably not. But the fact that he is on the floor, I think, can make a slight difference. So, but also another question that I want to ask is, could this be the leap of Tyrese Maxey? Because, he averaged around 20 points a game this year, and he shot 43% from three-point range. So, that's really impressive. So, he's showing the confidence of growing as a top scoring option for this team. And I think that he could possibly step into that, if Harden decides that he doesn't want to play. So that's something to definitely look out for. And on top of that, I know that Philly ended up getting rid of some guys like Matisse Thybulle and some guys, but they do got Furkan Korkmaz. They still got PJ Tucker. They still got George Niang. What's the guy that plays behind Embiid? I think it's Walker or something like that.
Paul Reed.
Sorry, I don't know where I got Walker from, but I mean, the supporting cast is still pretty cool. I don't know if they can really compete with any of the other contenders in the East, but honestly, when I look at this team as a whole, like depending on if Harden does play, and then of course, I think Embiid will still have a good year, but I still don't think it'll possibly be enough to possibly get him over the hump. I don't know if they could possibly make some trades in the middle of the year, but it might be another second round exit, maybe. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be another disappointing season for Philly, especially with the fans and everything. So I know y'all both said around like 50 plus game. I'm going to be safe and say 52 just because I do think that they can still compete in the Eastern Conference. But once the playoffs roll around, I don't know if that same play will translate.
We agree with that. They're playoff exits every time. So I hope that Maxey steps up. That's what I'm most excited about with this. Of course, it's the Kentucky alum on there. That's the only thing I like about this team is Maxey. Embiid has always been a whiner, really. Let's just be honest. He's whined and been joking on a lot of occasions where it actually, I think, hurt his popularity in the NBA as far as from the fans. Like, wow, this guy's taking this as a big joke. Like he set out for a pinky or something one time. It just and of course, which I think in the past 3 or 4 years, he has fixed that. And I do commend him for that. With Harden in there, it's just a big joke, more or less, of what's going on. I mean, you're in the playoffs and you seriously go to Vegas and your coach says it's okay. I mean, I don't understand what that whole thought process in a whole was. Your coach saying it's fine and you thinking it's fine. To me, Embiid should have stepped up and said, no, it's not fine. Get your tail back here with the team.
That's not his DNA. You could tell. He's not that type of guy.
That's the problem, in my opinion. But, that's why they might be second-round exits always. They're a great regular season team because it's different, and it's not just the NBA that way. I can remember in high school my freshman year going into playoffs, even just our little district. It's 14 district, and the intensity of walking into the court and watching the other teams play is like, oh wow, it's much tougher. I can tell. Let's go. Okay, it's game time. It's more serious, and I just don't think they have that serious takeover mentality. And I think this will always happen. Personally, I think after this year, I think Embiid will be gone. Rightfully so, though. I think Philadelphia, if they don't get out of the second round this year, I think they blow this all up because Embiid will not be happy. Harden hopefully will be gone, and Maxey will be the front runner to take over the Philadelphia 76ers.
Wow. That has to be a documentary in a couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
The process. It's perfect. It's setting up to be a classic.
Spoiled process meat.
It's setting up to be a perfect doc.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to this other team. Since I had them at 50, CJ said 50, Nick said 52. If Harden stays, I think they win more, if that's weird. Because, at least that's another superstar on the team, but I still don't have any faith in them during the playoffs. Nobody does. So let's go ahead and jump over to the more exciting team. The team that I think has a bright future, at least, and one that's dear to CJ's heart. So we'll start with you, Nick. What do you think about the New York Knicks coming up?
Yes, sir.
I think it should be another good year. The Knicks, to many, exceeded expectations of even getting to the playoffs, but not only getting to the playoffs, but getting past the first round to play Miami. Jalen Brunson, I mean, regardless of how you may have felt about him playing for Team USA, I think that he's bound to have another good year. I mean, he's shown to be a franchise guy for the team. I know that he didn't lead the team in scoring. Julius Randle averaged 25 a game, but I think that he has the tangibles, and I think that he has the personnel to be the franchise guy for the team. When you talk about his scoring, his playmaking, him being able to set the tone. I look at that 40. I think it's like 41 in that game, 6 against Miami. I kind of look at that game of, just putting the team on his back and really trying to keep them afloat. I know they ended up losing that game, but there was no way they were going to be close in that contest without the play of Jalen Brunson. So I look for him to have another good year. It's still crazy to me that he was a snub in the All-Star game this past year, but I don't think that happens two times in a row. So I think he's definitely going to be a lock to get in this year, and we'll see how that plays out. Another question for me is, can RJ Barrett improve offensively? Now, he did have his flashes in this FIBA playing for Canada, so I will give him that credit. But now that's got to translate on the NBA hardwood, and I think that's something that Knicks fans have been looking forward to. That's something that myself, looking from afar, have been looking forward to, because, I mean, he's had his moments. To me, it's kind of like a confidence thing when it comes to RJ, because I've seen him, I mean, to me, I think that he can be a good spot-up shooter. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as he's set and as long as he's in rhythm, but his creativity off the dribble, is not necessarily great. And I think that's something that he definitely has to continue to improve upon. So, and I'll be real. I mean, I know that a lot of people have given up on RJ. I think Michael has even slandered RJ himself, but I still have some belief, man. I still think that he has some potential to be great. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that means he's out of New York. I don't know if maybe the Tom Thibodeau system is not allowing him to shine, but in my opinion, I still have high hopes for RJ, and I still think that he can possibly, thrive to be an excellent player. Maybe not an all-star material, but to be kind of a great, scoring option for a team. So, but I look at this as a great year for New York. I mean, unfortunately, they did lose Obi Toppin. He's in Indiana now, but I still think even besides him, I think the supporting cast is still pretty good. You still got a guy like IQ who I expect to play well this year. You got other guys as well. So I think the Knicks I'll see the Knicks win.
Well,
I don't want to say 50.
They breaking it.
You think they break 50? I'm thinking
think so.
I'll say 49. I'll say 49. Like maybe not 50, but right there. I'll say 49. I'll say 49 games.
All right, CJ. After Nick praised RJ Hampton so much, man.
Hampton. When was the last time you saw him play?
Oh yeah, that's basically it.
Wow.
Let's hear your take on your Knickerbockers.
Yeah, 4 things. 1, Tom Thibodeau. This is it. This is it. If he, man, I really don't like saying. I don't like saying the same things about this team, bro. And what is he? Can he change? He's 66. He's kind of set in his ways. He's had a lot of success in those ways. I get that, but it's just a shelf life, and his inability to adjust, the constant getting out coached by better coaches with lesser talent around him. I'm just tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing it. Can he change the scheme up? The heavy ISO stuff it's fun when it goes in, but to me, I know it doesn't work all the time. It definitely does not work in the playoffs, as we saw in the playoffs against the Heat, even against the Cavs. They didn't play great. They didn't shoot the ball great against the Cavs. They were just better in terms of rebounding, and they just played with more effort. But when you go up against a team that can also match the effort, that's when the scheme plays into it, and that's the problem. The Knicks, they have a great effort, and they do the intangibles well. They do the little things well. Mitch Robinson, great offensive rebounder. Isaiah Hartenstein, great on the glass. We have a solid front court in terms of Randall, Hartenstein, Robinson. They crash the glass. That's one thing I will say about those guys. They do a great job of getting rebounds. And Mitchell Robinson, one of the best outside of Steven Adams, one of the best offensive rebounders in the NBA. But from a schematical standpoint with Thibodeau, bro, can I see? I need to see an adjustment. I need to see something new in that offense. They didn't bring a new assistant coach. They didn't bring anybody new in there. So, I'm really preparing myself to see the same thing I've seen the last 3 years with Thibodeau. Second thing, Julius Randle and RJ Barrett combined. So Nick brought up that 41-point game, right, against Miami in Game 6. 10 for 24 was RJ and Randle combined in that game 6. 10 for 24 in a closeout game on the road. And the player that for his first year on the team had 41. And the two guys that have been there, teammates 3 years now, whatever, 4 years now, going into 5 years, 10 for 24. And went to the playoffs before Brunson got there. Couldn't get it done. They have to get better. They have to get better. For RJ, I'll start with RJ first. He just has to be more efficient. He just has to be more efficient. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. We know you're the third option. You have to be able to space the floor. We know you're going left. We know you're sitting. We know they're going to create plays to make you go left. What can you do after that? You need a counter. It's like the only one with a counter move is Brunson. That's why he excels, right? Thibodeau has no counter when it comes to schemes. RJ has no counter outside of going left.
You hate Thibodeau.
I don't hate Thibodeau. He's good, but it's just like the glaring thing that's a problem is what's stopping us from getting to where we need to go. I just feel like he's too stubborn in his ways. Like he's stuck on doing the same thing, and let's just do the same thing over and over again until it works. And that's why he's never won a championship. And all the good teams he's been on, that's why he's never won a chip outside of being the defensive coordinator with the 08 Celtics. That's it. Because once he became a head coach, he's just stuck on this is what we're gonna do. That's it. Period. No adjustments. If we just do this, we'll be fine. No, that's not how it works. That's not. You need to do a little bit more. So I don't hate him. I'm just disappointed because he is one of the best coaches. He's one of the best coaches we've had since what I'll say Mike Woodson. Before then, Jeff Van Gundy, right? In '99. So he's a really good coach, but it's just that one thing that just gets me upset with him. But yeah, back to RJ, just being more efficient, man.
That's no love for defense. No, I'm joking.
Fizdale, nah. Not at all, brother. Yeah, it's just what did he improve on? Watching the games in the FIBA World Cup. I saw some added stuff to his game, but it still looks the same to me. It's not great off the dribble, not great off the catch and shoot. I don't know. Not a great on the free throw line. He has a lot to improve on offensively as an offensive player, bro. He should definitely be way ahead as a scorer by now, in my opinion. He was a number 2 option for 3 years before Brunson got there. So he should have already been working on his game and doing things like that to excel. So this is a big year for RJ. It's a big year for Randall too. And I know Randall got hurt with the ankle. And he played through it. And listen, you want to be out there for your guys. I commend him for that, but just this is the second time in the playoffs where he's struggled. And why? I look at Tom Thibodeau. It's not talent, because look at where he was with the Lakers and look how he's playing now. He's a completely different player. Like this guy made All-NBA. This guy's been an all NBA guy with the Knicks. That was never happening with the Lakers or the Pelicans. So he's talented. He's extremely talented. I just think Thibodeau doesn't put him in the right position to succeed. I feel like he fades at the three-point line way too much when he's not a great three-point shooter at all. He needs to start rolling to the basket a little bit more, start to put pressure on the defense. And if the defense steps up, throw the lob to Mitchell Robinson. It's really that simple, bro. Once you start putting pressure on the paint, that center has to come off Mitchell Robinson. And those are lobs to him all day, which gets him happy, which gets his energy flowing to make him go get some stops on the defensive end, something that he's already great at. That's key. That's team chemistry. I don't even remember the last time I've seen Randall throw a lob to Mitchell Robinson. How? They've been teammates for 5 years. So that's my thing with Randall, man. Playing the post a little bit more. There should be no reason why Brunson is our best post player at 6'2". How does that work? So yeah, man, it's just he just needs to improve as a player. He needs to improve as on defense too. There's a lot of times on defense he'll miss 2 shots and then start jogging up the court. You have to lead by example. You can't bark on your teammate if they miss an assignment, or you miss like 3 assignments in a row, and nobody can say anything to you because you're the top 2 player on the team. Where's the consistency? you lose respect from the people in the locker room like that. So he's improved as a defender. He's not a great shot blocker, but he could do windmill dunks and all that, which is so crazy to me. These guys can dunk out the gym and jump over anything, jump over cars and all that type of stuff. But when it's time to get a block, they're nowhere to be found. When it's time to get a steal, they're nowhere to be found. It's incredible to me. That's just overall, but he's one of those guys too. Like he could do a windmill reverse 360, but averages 0.7 blocks a game. At power forward, it's crazy. It's astonishing to me. So he, even though he's talented, he's still got a lot to improve on as a player. A lot to improve on. Number 3, we needed shooting, and I like the Dante DiVincenzo pickup. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Nick could speak to how well he played in Golden State last year. Won the championship with Milwaukee, even though he got hurt in the playoff series. But he was a big part of them getting to that finals in the regular season. Made some big plays as a starting shooting guard for that team. He could do the little things. Really solid, really good offensive rebounder at his size, similar to Josh Hart. They're both around 6'4", 6'5". They just have high IQ. He has chemistry with Jalen Brunson. He has chemistry with Josh Hart just in their days at Villanova, winning the national championship together in 2016. So that's there. And right away, he's the second best shooter on the team. Last year, Brunson was the best shooter. You put him into the roster, he's the second best. Then it's everybody else. And at the bottom, take a guess. Randall and RJ are two of the worst. RJ being the worst at 31% from 3. It's not going to cut it. You can't be a starter shooting 31% from 3. Like, what? And the thing is, like, you're open. Catch and shoot. It's not even like you're shooting contested. You're wide open. So, yeah, man. DiVincenzo was a good pickup. I still want to know what they're doing at the backup power forward position. They really didn't make a move there. They signed a couple guys. Isaiah Roby from Oklahoma City. You know, he had some solid games here and there. He had a solid couple of years, but I'm looking to see what they do at the backup forward. You get rid of your Trey Toppin. Okay. We brought in Jacob Toppin, who, I mean, if he gets an opportunity, I like his game. I like his game a lot. You know, he's not just a dunker. He has a nice mid-range shot. I was watching some of his clips at Kentucky throughout the games. Like he's someone that he has high IQ as well. Be in the dunker spot at the right time. He has a nice dribble pull-up game at that free throw area. He has a nice shot. He has to improve from 3 for sure. But if he gets an opportunity, he gets stronger. He could potentially be a backup power forward for us. I think that'd be a good spot for him. We'll see if he's able to play and get some minutes here in the preseason. I want to see how he plays since he wasn't able to run with us in the summer league. And last but not least, the guards. That's Brunson, Quickly, and Grimes. I'm looking for those 3 players to improve, especially Grimes. Starting shooting guard. Would like Tibbs to let him score and let him create more opportunities and create his shot a little bit more. The reason why he has to be a catch and shoot guy is because RJ is not a great catch and shoot guy. So you have to have him do the other. He has to sacrifice because RJ can't do a certain thing. But I honestly feel like Grimes could be given an opportunity, a really solid and efficient shot creator for the Knicks, man. I truly believe that. It's just unfortunate that there's a hierarchy because RJ's been on the team longer. But Grimes is a good player, great defender, became a starter in his second year in the NBA. So that says a lot to me. That means he works hard, he plays good defense. I expect him to take the next step. I expect Quickly to bounce back from the playoff series, just the playoffs in general. He didn't play great against Cleveland, and he struggled against Miami, ended up getting hurt, didn't even play in that game 6 game. He's training with Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, one of the best shooters back in the 90s, formerly known as Chris Jackson. And I saw him work. He's been working out with him. I think that's a great trainer to have. Obviously, one of the best shooters we've seen in the NBA, and Quickly he's working out with him. So that's good to see. I think again he just has to continue to get stronger, finish with contact. Those are some of the things that he struggled with coming out of Kentucky. But he's definitely gotten stronger. Top 2 and 6 man of the year last year. Runner-up, 6 man of the year runner-up. I think he could easily get that award again, or get the award next year after being a runner-up last year. And last but not least, again, Jalen Brunson, man, just all-star. That's the next step. All-star, improving his game, getting better, being more of a playmaker, even though it's tough because our spacing isn't great, but just still trying to find other ways to get guys involved and just continuing to be a great scorer. May average 24. I can see him getting in that 27 range. But if it's 24 and it's like 8, 9 assists, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? Because I need somebody else is knocking down and getting buckets. And we know come playoff time, he will step up. He was so big for us in the playoffs. It was really looking scary for us against Miami. I thought we was going to get packed up in a gentleman's sweep. Honestly, almost a sweep. He came out there, he averaged 30s, like 35 against the Heat at 6'2", 190. With that great coach and what they do over there. So I know he's a special player. He's built. He's a born winner. And last thing I'll say here is his play. The better he plays, the clock continues to start in terms of the time period of Randall and RJ Barrett. Because if he continues to improve and those guys are just kind of still right here plateauing, there will be discussions. And as we talked about with the team, we just talked about the team before with Embiid, disgruntled superstar, we still have the assets, we still have the cap space. We could make a trade here in the next year or so and really, really put ourselves and usurp ourselves not only as one of the best teams in the East, but one of the best teams in the NBA.
So with all that, how many games to win?
I'm going 50. Going 50 wins. Their regular season team, Thibodeau, that's his forte. Come playoff time, that's a different discussion.
Okay. Yeah, I think you all got excuse me, a steal with Jacob Toppin. I was hoping Obi and Jacob could play together. Of course, Obi is out.
Because he's a Kentucky guy, Michael, be honest.
Yes, because I got to see him play. He is a point forward, and I say that jokingly because he never really ran point for us at all, but he did actually have to run point a little bit when one of our point guards went down. I can't think of who it was right now. And he did a wonderful job, actually. Like, that was kind of the Facebook talk was, wow, Toppin could be point Toppin's what we're calling him. But he can jump out of a gym. He has a decent shot, and he does have some handles. I know you talked to him about being a solid backup. If Tom uses him correctly in the future, I think he would be a wonderful stretch for the fact that he does play good defense. He can block those shots. He can guard some of the guards because of his speed that he has and the ball handling skills that he does have. I can see that being a fast team without RJ on that team. Not saying anything else, but I could just see Toppin really moving into that, hey, let's get it and go top with Brunson and everyone else on that team that's left-handed. That team would be fun and a highlight reel to watch with that going on. Now, not saying that Toppin is taking over right away, but I do think the potential that Toppin has, his ceiling is very high. His bottom can be very low. It's a sad thing. So it depends on how they mold him. Coming with Calipari, the background that he always produces players, you got to like your chances with that. I actually thought I had them coming in at 51 wins, and I'm going to keep it because I think another year under Brunson's belt with everyone else will be a sophomore season basically for Brunson with this team. They have to improve. And I do think they improve. I never can say the shooting guard that Vincenzo, I think is you say it so smoothly, is I think a valuable asset to that team. They did lack some spacing sometimes last year, and I think that solves that right there. Toppin can knock it down too if he gives the opportunity. So this team has a chance, in my opinion. I'm going to say this right here. I could see them with the crazy stuff going on in the East, possibly making it to be the top 3 teams in the East next year. And I wouldn't be mad at that. Are you all okay, or is that too bold?
No, I mean, listen, like I said, bro, they're a good regular season team, and they just need somebody else other than Brunson to step up in the playoffs, and then that's a whole different conversation. So yeah, I mean,
Right.
I don't disagree with that take at all, bro. I don't. They get it done in the regular season.
Right. I do think Cleveland's better than them. Let me keep saying that, but I can see Knicks finishing ahead of them in the regular season.
They didn't show it this past year.
Yeah, we're gonna see, but we'll see about that, bro.
I think those two teams are a fun matchup head to head all season long.
For sure, definitely.
So,
I can't wait for those games.
Let's get our last team in here. I mean, nobody cares about this team anyways. They're just all green. The Boston Celtics, they probably have the youngest duo that's been broken up or been waiting to be broken up. They lost Smart.
But that ain't happening no time soon.
No, it's not happening. But Marcus Smart went on over to Memphis, which was a great sign for them. They bring over – who did they bring over? Oh, Porzingis.
Yes.
Porzingis from Washington, yep.
Washington, which is a huge void that they needed. Al Horford is getting old, but still playing well. Let's not deny it. So with that being said, with the additions that they've had, some subtractions as well, CJ, we'll start with you on this one. What do you think going into this season for Boston Celtics?
Yeah, listen, top 3 team in the NBA. Denver, Boston. Then after that,
Washington.
Pick them. Milwaukee, Phoenix, Miami, depending on what happens with you know who. So I think Boston's they're one of the best teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Mazzulla going into his second year as the head coach of the Celtics. After having, I think, obviously success at the championship, just what he had to go through, kind of just given the keys after everything that occurred at the start of the season last year, and then taking the team to the Eastern Conference Finals, almost, but then almost reverse swept the Miami Heat. Bring in Kristaps Porzingis. He's already injured with the plantar fasciitis. It's like, here we go again, right? To just 7'3", moving like that, with the previous torn ACL, torn meniscus, plantar fasciitis. It's like, here we go again. So it's a lot of pressure on him. It's a lot of pressure on him to perform. This is not the Wizards. This is not the Mavericks. And this is not the Knicks. This is the Boston Celtics. They expect championships in that city, or at least you're at least right there going to the championship, Eastern Conference Finals, whatever. That's what they're expecting, especially after the success that they've had over the last 6 years. Now, when you get rid of a homegrown guy, fan favorite, and Marcus Smart, people are going to be looking at Kristaps Porzingis to perform at a high level. Schematically, I could see them doing a lot of 5-out. You guys know I'm not the biggest fan of the 5-out scheme. Hopefully Robert Williams can stay healthy too, another guy that's been battling with injuries over the last few years. Hopefully he can come in there and help them being a great defensive presence. I think if you put him at the 5 and have Porzingis play the 4, I think it would help Porzingis be more fresher, just like we saw with AD at the 4, and they had McGee and Dwight Howard at the 5 during that bubble run in 2020. I think that's the best case scenario for a guy like Porzingis. He could come over, be a help defender, and change the game defensively that way. And I don't want to see him staying at the three-point line all day. I'm sorry. I just don't. I want to see him get in the post a little bit, use his height, use his size, and create mismatches for more efficient baskets. I don't care what analytic guys say. That's a more efficient basket. So we'll see what Mazzulla does. We'll see what packages, we'll see what type of plays and sets that he has in store for Porzingis. Obviously, that was discussed before they pulled the trigger on the trade. Marcus Smart out, Derek White in. Now Derek White is going to be the starting point guard for the Boston Celtics. That's a phenomenal thing to say. You're the starting point guard for the Boston Celtics. We all know the great point guards that have played for the Boston Celtics: Rondo, Kuzi, Smart, So it's definitely a big accomplishment for him. I think he deserves it. He paid his dues in San Antonio. Then they made the trade for him to go to Boston. He was a big team. He played well. He was honestly he was probably like what you could say he was the third best player in that series against Miami. The shots that he was making, spacing the floor, going to the basket, making plays. I think he's gonna have to be that playmaker that all of us have been looking for from this team at that position. Is he gonna be Rondo? No, but he does need to find ways to put Tatum and Brown in better positions to succeed on the court and kind of be the extension of the head coach. Obviously, we know that's what the point guard is for Derek White. Jaylen Brown. We had this conversation last year about the ball handling. That just has to get better. If you're not great at that skill set, improve that. But also, man, again, bro, another way that they won't be able to strip the ball from you from the 3-point line to the paint. Get in the mid range. Let somebody give you the ball. So now, in terms of taking 8 dribbles, you're taking 4. Right? It sounds simple, but teams don't do it in today's NBA. So it's crazy.
Let me ask you a quick question here, and this is not us on camera talking here. You guys play basketball, right? Did you all not do in like sports or at least basketball practices where you had the line waiting on the baseline and it was 1-on-1 at the top of the key? You had 3 to 4 dribbles and you had to score or it was dead. You all did that, right? And then winner stays. Are they not doing that with Brown? Come on, man! Stop dribbling so much because the more it bounces on the ground, the more likely you have a turnover. 3 dribbles or less, or pass it. Period.
Yes,
that's what they need to be doing with him.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Sorry, carry on.
No, king of the court, 3 dribbles or less is something that's been going on for the longest.
Right.
Definitely. And I'm sure they do that in practice, putting it around and stuff like that, but it's just not implemented in the game. So I guess we're saying the same thing, right? We're saying less dribbles, the better, right? For Smart, because if that's not his skill set, then find other ways for him to be successful, and that's also on Joe Mazzulla too. That's his job. Mm-hmm. That's his job. He has to see. Okay, he's not great at this. Let's do this. Tatum, I just see continued success. I'm not a fan of breaking this duo up. I just feel like it's so crazy to me. This is the irony of NBA fans, right? They'll say, "Oh, I love when a player stays with the team for the longevity for 20 years and stays with one team together, and they battle through adversity and get over the hump. That's a great story." Then on the other hand, it's break it up. They play the same way. They're not ready. They can't win together. It's like pick one. I'm on the side of the former. I want to see these guys win a championship together. I want to see these guys have success. Why? The thing for me, the people that say break the team up is, what's the logical reasoning behind that? Again, as I said earlier, there's no juggernaut team in the NBA. They're the odds to come out the East.
Right.
So why are you breaking that team up? Where's the logic in when people say that? Where's the logic in that? I don't get it. So yeah, man, I think Tatum is going to continue to play well. I think Brown is going to continue to improve. Both all NBA guys. What? So for wins, 57 and 25 last year. Adding Porzingis, I'm going to say, is that right? Who's hurt? I'm gonna say they stay at 57. I'm gonna say they stay at 57.
All right, Nikolai. I haven't called you Nikolai in a long time, man. I apologize. How do you feel the Boston Celtics? Is he frozen or?
Yeah, brother. Yeah, I think it's frozen.
Are you alive? This is kind of creepy, man. Well, I will go on while he is meditating here. I agree as far as everything you said. Jaylen Brown, don't dribble. That's why you don't run point guard. If you dribble 4 times, I guarantee the fourth dribble, it's a turnover. Please listen to my podcast and hear me say that you cannot dribble and stop it. I'm not saying that to be a prick to you at all. It's just your weakness. You get too close in with the defenders and still are dribbling it too high. Most people dribble it low when they get there, but you are not. You bounce around left and right, east and west more than anything instead of going north and south like most players do. But you know what? You are a good player. I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm trying to help you out here. So just like CJ said, stop the dribbling. Coach, get him into a right spot. Get him off curling some screens instead of fading out to the three-point line. Get him curling in where you can get it one dribble and come up to the up at the rim to battle with everyone. That way he's not creating that way. That would be a few plays to get him comfortable like that. Tatum, I think, keeps moving as far as MVP candidate year in, year out. I do think this is a great season for White to step up. He made a great play in the last second shot there, and hopefully that play alone didn't make him the starter for the next season and he can actually perform. Because with the team that you have, you don't have to be great. You just have to be a good point guard that does the general work. Set up your offense, get 10 assists a game, and really that's fine. You have the team that you can do that. So I'm going to say that they win one more game because I don't want to say they're the same. Matter of fact, I'm going to give them 2 games. I'm going to put them at 59 wins.
Okay, 59 wins.
Because I think another year under their coach, Adam Porzingis, I think they are getting better. Excuse me. I do think missing Marcus Smart may turn out to bite them in the butt some as being that mentality that they may miss later on, but we'll see how that goes. So, Nick.
And the last thing for me for them is their second unit. They lost Graham Williams. I think that was a big loss. Who's going to be that player that's going to step up for them in the second unit?
He played at Tennessee. It's no big deal.
they need somebody in that second unit to step up. Is it Peyton Pritchard? Is it Jordan Walsh, the player that they drafted this year? Who is it going to be? That's a big question also for the Celtics.
So that concludes all of our teams. Of course, if Nick comes back, we'll get his take on how many wins they've got. I don't know. Was he pulling up the?
Yeah, he had the MNC. I didn't have the MNC Choose.
Okay, you didn't have the chooses. Okay, he just texted us and said that his Wi-Fi was bugging out, so he had to dip out. Okay. So I guess we're having a short show with that. That is completely fine with me. It's been fun. Let's get rid of this so I can actually see you then. And we'll just clear out here with just you and me. CJ, since I guess that's all for us today, where can everyone find you at? What you got going on? And will you be playing any 2K tonight?
Yeah, you can find me on X at cjames9_. I also got my gaming page on X at CJ versus the World, where I drop more like my like Michael said, my 2K content, a little bit of Madden too. I'm playing some Madden 3v3 Superstar Showdown. Really solid mode for Madden.
Has that been a thing, or is that just new?
They had something called The Yard. It was like a 3v3 arcade style mode in Madden 21. And they kind of this is kind of like I'd say a revamped version of that. So yeah, it's fairly new. It's fairly new.
Okay.
I'm waiting for them to actually put in like
cool,
7 on. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's quick, 1st to 21. It's really quick games. It's fun on defense too. It's the best part to me. Yeah, the best part is that's why I had a little defensive montage that I had posted earlier this week. Because
I'm sorry, I'm going to talk to you about this, even though we were closing this out.
No, you're good.
Because what I watch, I only hear you. I can't hear you other guys.
Right. Yeah.
Which I know that. And are they telling you, hey, like CJ, run this route here, and then okay, I'm going to do this. Like, how are you on the same page on what route you're running?
Yeah, so I turn the party audio off because it can get a little crazy in the chats. I'm not trying.
I got you.
I'm not trying to get demonetized with only less than 100 subs. But
Gotcha.
um, but yeah, no, I'm usually calling out my routes. I'm usually saying where I'm gonna go. Sometimes it's just silent communication. We just know, like, whatever the defense does. My quarterback, my guy Ryan. Like, if I do it, if that safety goes a certain way, I'll just cut the other way. He'll just lead past it to the spot. Just kind of just like what what you see in the league. Like, he'll just lead past it to the spot and make the play. Sometimes I'll say, I'm gonna do a zig or a whip, something like that. But yeah, it's calm. It's calm. It's like a combination of I'll say what I'm gonna do. My quarterback will say some stuff, and then there's also some silent comms. But,
do you ever play quarterback?
I haven't played because I started a little bit late on Madden. So my guy Ryan, he's already like at the high level on the mode. So it's just like it's no point for me to make a quarterback. So I'd rather just play. I'd rather just play corner. It's a corner / receiver on some like Travis Hunter type style.
Gotcha.
My guy. But yeah, like I said, the mode is fun. It's really the only mode I play on Madden because I'm still not a big fan of their engine in terms of how the players move and the tackling and the block engagement. It's still not the best. But outside of that mode, I don't play any other Madden. But yeah, now with 2K dropping on Friday, that's probably going to be the majority of my content on my gaming channel, man. Haven't played it too much because I was kind of out for a little bit for the weekend, obviously, like I talked about earlier. But definitely going into this week and obviously going forward. I'm playing some 2K, man. They got the 2K League where the NBA teams are like the NBA teams have their own esports team. So they have Lakers Gaming, Mavs Gaming, and September 14th, September 18th, I think. September 14th, September 18th is the tryouts. They have a tryout. They have a game mode inside of 2K24. It's called Become a Pro Series.
Oh wow!
So I'm gonna try out for that and see what happens. And they just dropped a announcement. The 2K League and the Players Association are collabing, doing a partnership, to where now the NBA players can sponsor and promote the 2K League players. So like they have Celtics gaming. So say they bring in like Jaylen Brown or whatever we're talking about, or Jason Tatum, they could be a connect to that gamer or to that team. They make it's not they're not making six figures, but they're making like 50 something K, 60K a year. Playing two. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's solid. Playing 2K. So I'm like, like another stream of income would definitely be great. Doing something that I already play like almost every day. So yeah, I'm gonna try out. I'm gonna try out for the for that 2K league, man, and I'm gonna keep you guys posted.
Please do a documentary on this. So if you make it, we've got that clip.
Yes, sir.
I mean, seriously, would you think about that? Like, hey, I'm about to go in here, record yourself, man, because that'd be fun for us to have that and be able to show. I think as for MNC,
sure.
like,
absolutely,
I think it'd be awesome.
I'm gonna record it. I'm live streaming too. So that's what I'm saying. That's another reason why I like live streaming, is because you just with each stream you're creating memory.
Right.
So I can always go back like 5 months from now or a week or later and just watch something like, that was funny, that was hilarious. So yeah, definitely, it's all going to be documented.
So do you have to go to the Knicks arena? It's the Garden, right?
Oh, that's you don't go to the Garden. Like it's within the tournament is in within the game itself. So like they have a mode.
So you can do it at home then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you get drafted to a 2K league team, you live in that city like an NBA player. Like you live there. You live in that city. Like say I get drafted by Grizzlies Gaming, I'd have to move to Tennessee. I have to move to Memphis and play there and do everything like that.
That'd be crazy, dude.
And they have tournaments. They have the playoffs. The winner, I think it's $500K when they win the chip. And then they have tournaments within the season as well for $200K, $250K, $100K. So it's 5v5 and 3v3. So yeah, man, they're really starting. 2K is really starting to it's 25 teams in the 2K league. So they're really starting to implement into the that gaming world, that esports world. This will be season 7 this year.
Wow, that's awesome, dude.
Yes, sir, man. So wish me luck, man. I'm trying to get in there and try to make it happen. We'll see what happens, man.
So again, you can follow him on CJ versus the World, and help him get to 100 subscribers on YouTube for that, guys. And he does great content, guys. I've sat here and watched him and contacted or chatted back and forth with him a few times. It's fun to watch.
Appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate you, man. Where can the people find you?
Of course, underneath my name, wherever it is, excuse me, is our Linktree /MNC Hoops. It has all of our social media links. Of course, go like, subscribe, follow, do the whole 9 yards on that. We appreciate that. You can find me personally at MDLawson00, pretty much on all platforms as well. I have started up a new podcast with my brother. It's called Cats Chat. It's everything Kentucky basketball. That's why it's called Cats Chat. For all the names, it's Cats Chat Pod. For all the social medias for that as well. We are about to have, I'll say this. Our guest for Wednesday is a current player on the football team for Kentucky, and if everything works out with it, he was last week's SEC Player of the Week. Wow. So if you want to do your research, you can go find that out, who was on Kentucky to do that. We're in contacts. We just got to go through the right channels on everything and get that through. But that's who we're looking like to have on there last week's SEC Player of the Week. I don't want to say names because technically it's not a done deal. He's got to agree we went through the right channels and it's set up. He's just got to say, yeah, which apparently we have a connection that a girl who went to school here from Harlan County who went to UK knows this guy pretty well and said he's pretty much country like I am from here in Harlan County. So should be fun.
Wow, man, you guys blowing up with that podcast, man.
I mean, we are getting pretty good guests, believe it or not. It was funny because you know that I go to church all the time. Today, a lot of our people at our church talk to us because after church on Sunday night we played basketball. That's why I was late rushing here. Like, a bunch of us guys are playing. But one of the guys that play is his wife said, who we're going to have on guests Wednesday because that's becoming a ritual. Like my husband and I and my son, that's who we watch. I'm like, I appreciate that. It's like, well, honestly, we don't have a guest. She's like, you don't have anyone? I was like, yeah, I know. Sorry, we don't have a guest this week. But it's working out now where we're going to have a guest possibly. So, yeah, man, these standards we got to keep the standards up there, and it's getting a little too hard to do. So far, we've had, just throwing this out here, Jeff Shepard, who is a former Kentucky player who's won 2 national champions with Kentucky. His son plays now, Reed Shepard, for Kentucky. We've had Coach Vince Marrow, who actually coaches the Kentucky football. He's an assistant coach or the associate head coach. We've had Cash Daniel. If you've seen any Kentucky GIF, meme, or whatever of the guy who is celebrating with 2 waters and pours, that's who it was when they beat Florida in Florida. So we've had a Blair Green who played at Kentucky girls basketball for 5 years. She had a red shirt medical year, so she was able to play for 5 years. So we've had some good guests on there. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah. You guys are doing great, man. Congrats, my brother.
I appreciate that. That. When we get big, MNC is going with us. When you become a Memphis native from the 2K world, you can bring us along as well.
Absolutely.
Listen, one thing that I've learned with doing this, support people and the grind that they do, and no matter what it is. I don't care if you are a person who partakes in whatever it is. If somebody makes candles, buy a candle from them, man. I mean, they're grinding for a reason, trying to make a career. If someone does a podcast, even if you don't like it, subscribe to it because it helps them out. I mean, I don't know why people don't help out as much as they do with each other, because I would rather help as much as I can for people who are trying with stuff like this than help someone who's not trying at all.
1,000%. 1,000%, bro. I agree.
Yep. With that being said, CJ, you have a good week. I will be looking for you on YouTube. Since we're getting off here a little bit early, I may hop on and try to watch you live and comment with you while you're on here.
Yes,
but everyone else, thank you all so much for joining into this episode of MNC Hoops. We will have the podcast up probably in a couple of days or so, and we appreciate you guys following all that as well. But until next time, you guys have a great day.
See you guys. For my guy
Dude.
Nick, deuces.
Deuces.
Yes, sir.